Hey, I'm Dawn of the World, and I'm here to shine a light on One Piece chapter 1029, The Tower. I am aware that this chapter review's quite late, and by the time it comes out, 10:30 will probably be well on the way. There is a hot new trio in the Straw Hat Pirates, that being Luffy, Frankie, and Sanji, and that is the Bulletproof Trio, and it turns out Sanji could not be less thrilled to be a part of it. I've actually seen there's a lot of controversy over Sanji running away, but you realize why he's running away, right? He's seen these same abilities awaken in his brothers, and he saw what happened to them. They were stripped of all of their feelings, their empathy, their emotions. Essentially, they were stripped of his humanity, and now Sanji's faced with the reality that the same thing might happen to him. Side note, I reckon that this is one of the reasons why Oda chose to make Frankie an incredibly emotional character who'll get super invested in any story that even remotely pulls on the heartstrings. He's showing us that despite being bulletproof and physically more metal than flesh, this man is still very, very human. The same could not be said for the Germa boys, and Sanji knows this. Also, Sanji has, on numerous occasions, from his very first introduction, been shown to be a very kind person, and numerous characters have even commented on his kindness. In fact, he can be kind to the point of being too kind, self-sacrificial and willing to give up his own life and dream, even for Zoro, who in turn, of course, wouldn't let that happen because, let's be real here, those two do care about each other. Sanji running off is a good thing that makes complete sense for his character at this stage. My dude is having an existential crisis. He's running away because he's so scared of losing his emotions like this. This is a sign that he does still have those feelings. He cherishes them and wants to protect them. Were he not to run away and remain cool and cold and level-headed at a time like this, would be a massive indicator that he was, like his brothers, losing his humanity. Is that what any of us want for his character? Not to mention, this clearly shows that Whole Cake Island wasn't it for Sanji, and he clearly still has more of a character arc to undergo before the series finishes. This power-up is as much an external character development as it is an internal character development. Sanji's going to have to undergo some kind of reconciliation of his past with his present and his future, and realize that he can be an enhanced human or monster just like his brothers, while still maintaining his feelings and emotions. I feel like Frankie could be a good mentor for him as he undergoes this transformation, as could Chopper, who's right there. I also hope that Zoro plays a role in this part of Sanji's character arc, seeing as how Zoro and Sanji are the wings of the Pirate King, and as a pair they've always been largely a part of each other's character development since Baratie. Their fights have diverged now, but the start of this king and queen fight even had the pair of them back to back defending each other. A lot of their big moments have involved the other, to the point where it felt strange that Zoro didn't really play a role in the Whole Cake Island arc. But now we know Sanji's character arc isn't complete, he may still have a role yet to play. I just love to see nakama-ship between the Straw Hats, but also between other crews. On that segue, the main portion of this chapter was one of those. It's not very often that you get a chapter that's not Straw Hat centric and instead focuses on the crewmate of a supporting character, but this chapter was one of those, and I enjoyed every moment of it. Also, a few more slight tangents before I get into that. I'm wondering about this fire. It was implied a few chapters back that we were getting a fireman Jinbei, but that hasn't happened yet. It makes me wonder if the fire is being used as a narrative device to drive the characters all towards the same location. Another random tangent about the Kid Pirates. I think they have this really great goth aesthetic going on. They look like they're from a Scandinavian metal band, except for Killer. He's like that one token guy in the band who looks like he's from a different band. And the name of their ship is Victoria Punk. That sounds like a band name. That ship definitely has a runway on it, and they have catwalk nights, just saying. Also, is that guy who breathes the fire, Heat, is he the crew cook? And does he cook the food by breathing his fire over it? If he doesn't, I'm gonna be very disappointed. Though apparently Oda said in an SBS that Killer's hobby is cooking. That doesn't mean he's the cook of the ship. It doesn't even mean he's a good cook. It just means he likes cooking, that's his hobby. Suffice to say, at this point, another hobby of his is now the act of outsmarting and outmatching Hawkins. Something I loved about this chapter is that we really saw the bond shared between Kid and Killer. It's not often that we really get a glimpse into the relationships of crews outside the Straw Hats, with some such examples even showing a lack of trust and care between some of those crews in question. This was not the case here. Kid and Killer have already been shown to have an incredibly close relationship with each other, built on deep mutual respect, loyalty, a type of affection, camaraderie, which is so great to see and makes their relationship very comparable to that of Zoro and Luffy in a way. It makes makes me really hope for a flashback between the pair where we can see how they met. Maybe that'll come up soonish during Kid's fight with Big Mom. Like, Killer and Kid are from the same part of the ocean, and Oda has even stated in an SBS that were they born into the real world, they'd both be from Scotland, which is a pretty big indicator that they were from the same island, that they likely shared some history together. I like to think that Killer was Kid's babysitter who would humour his chaotic whims, which eventually led to the launch of the Kid Pirates. At the very least, they definitely do each other's nails, like they have a fortnightly girls' night with the boys. I also think that it's a little odd that other pirate crews have names like Beast Pirates, Heart Pirates, On Air Pirates, etc. And then Kid's crew's just Kid Pirates. And other pirates have epithets like Dark King, or Mad Monk, or God. And then you get to Kid's epithet and it's literally just Captain. I'm not really seeing much creativity here, but that's fine, I guess. You're getting exactly what it says on the tin. At this point, I'm actually kind of surprised that Victoria Punk wasn't named Ship, or Kid Ship, or Eustace Ship. In Kid's defense, I guess the epithet Redhead was already taken, just like his arm, by one of the Redhead pirates. Took his potential crew name, took his potential epithet, took his not potential but actual literal arm. Brutal. But, as I discussed in one of my latest videos, of which this chapter would have been a perfect segue, One Piece is full of blessings in disguise, and Kid having lost an arm at some point during the time skip definitely counts as one of these. And Killer was such an MVP this chapter. I love when Oda shines some light on characters who don't often get a light shone upon them, and I'm all about the triumph of the underdog. I also love these battles where the character really has to use their brains to bring down an opponent, and seeing Killer's utmost loyalty and dedication was a real treat. I also loved some of the parallels we could see this chapter. We've got Sanji, a character who's so full of burning passion as well as kindness, going into this existential crisis mode over the very real threat of losing those emotions. Then we also have Killer, a character who's always been masked. Like, we literally spent years wondering what his face looked like hidden behind that mask. Only when we finally saw him unmasked, he's still been forced to wear a mask of sorts through being forced to eat a smile fruit. Where Sanji's upgrade is at the risk of ridding him of emotions, this so-called upgrade of Killer's has robbed him of his ability to showcase any outward expression aside from laughter. And now in this chapter, despite wearing both the physical mask that he donned earlier in the series, as well as the smile mask, we're actually able to see a much greater showcase of emotion from him than ever before, through him literally begging for his captain's life and truly getting a glimpse of the loyalty and faith, as well as the friendship and love he has towards his captain. Furthermore, as much as Killer was the MVP of this chapter, I won't be making the mistake of sleeping on Hawkins. He's made of straw and would be very uncomfortable. Here we have a man who's potentially a stand user who's escaped from JoJo's Bizarre Universe and ended up in One Piece, who's remained extremely stoic and seemingly emotionless since his introduction in the series back at Sabaody Archipelago all those years ago, finally lose his composture. Hawkins himself has some interesting topics of discussion as a character, such as this panel where he seems quite fearful and defeated. This feels almost like a warning more than anything, as though it should be paired with a "believe me, I've tried." This pretty much is confirmed in the next panel where Killer calls him out, seeing through Hawkins' carefully calculated facade to his true feelings. And now that he's defeated and it looks as though the tides of the battle may be changing, I wonder what Hawkins is going to do from here. He's only really relied on his cards to make his decisions for him. So Hawkins, what do you actually want? If Oda does anything more with this character, which he just might based on previous character arcs throughout the series, Hawkins' character arc could involve him discovering his own agency and learning to make his own decisions. One of the major themes of One Piece, after all, is freedom, and the life of a pirate is supposed to be free, but Hawkins has kind of been living by the rigid rules and dictation of his cards, which doesn't really sound freeing to me. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to join Luffy and the Alliance, but maybe he'll realize that deep down his dream has always been to be a bean farmer, and that's where he'll find freedom for himself. Anyway, thank you for watching. Be sure to add a like and subscribe for any upcoming One Piece content. I'm Dawn of the World, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.